Good evening. This is Maestro with a Dawn of War 2 Retribution Elite Modcast. And today we have a match. It's actually from the quarterfinals of Elite League Division A, and it's between DarkHero and Alpra, better known, well, we'll get to that for a second. But anyway, we got DarkHero here playing as the Orc Mekboy, teleporting ranged Orc Commander who can also repair vehicles. His opponent, Alpra, the artist formerly known as Kavek, and now more popularly known as Piano, will be playing as the Plague Champion, a ranged hero for the Chaos Army who can get melee weapons later on, can also repair and heal. So, if you are looking at the score and you are a little bit confused about why it's already showing DarkHero having 1 point, that is because there was an issue with the first game of this series. I believe there was some sort of crash, and the game was, for whatever reason, awarded to DarkHero. I don't know the full details of it, but as far as I know, this is actually Game 2 of the series, and DarkHero is up 1 game. Alright, Chaos Space Marines will move in here. They will be looking to tie up the Shooter Boys. Just kidding. They're actually just going to look to get in cover, and they will let the Heretics get in melee with the Shooter Boys. Either way works. Kind of, multiple paths to victory there. But, I mean, also with Alpra or Piano, really just had strength in numbers there. And it does look like on other sides of the map, where, since Piano had most of his army concentrated in the middle, we do see DarkHero's army spread off in different parts of the map, achieving various things. Slugger Boys will bash the node, Shooter Boys will capture a requisition point, and I think he'll probably try to keep his Slugger Boys in here just long enough to finish off the node. They do lose a model. Can he get them out of there without losing another one? And it does look like he will. Overall, I'd say that is does lose another one, so down to 2. Or 2 models lost. I would say even with the 2 models lost, I think that is a favorable trade for DarkHero. He did deny that node, which cost 125 requisition, which also denies the extra power income, as well as the time it takes to renode it before Piano can get generators. In this case, though, shooters are heavily outmatched against both the Plague Champion as well as the Chaos Space Marines, so they will have to get out off the field. Now, we do see that Alpra, or Piano, has chosen to get double Heretics. Interesting to see that. Sometimes with the Plague Champion, that is where I would, with that hero, I would slightly more than the other Chaos heroes expect to see a double Chaos Space Marine build, since the combination of 2 Chaos Space Marines along with the Plague Champion does certainly make for a lot of range DPS. However, the advantage of the double Heretics, aside from just, well, it's a cheaper unit, you do get more melee pressure. Another thing you can also get is double Heretic Worship, which does mean that the Heretics worshipping can actually heal each other, although I'm not sure if we'll see that. Usually still pretty easy to burn down the Heretics anyway, since they are so squishy. At 8 models and 600 health overall as a squad, man, I think my math, I'm going to have a little bit of trouble with that math. It was so much easier when it was just 640 health for the squad, and I knew it was 80 health per model, but I think that means it's actually 75 health per model now. Slugger Boys chasing after that Plague Champion with just his starting bolter. He really can't stand up to the overall high base DPS of the Slugger Boys. They will scare him off, and I was going to say Slugger Boys will attempt to get a generator bash. Unfortunately, they got a pretty unfortunate retreat path, although they only pay for it with 1 model, so I think that's pretty lucky. On the other side, he would have found himself actually retreating into a Chaos Havoc squad, but it might have been worth his while to see if he could have walk down a little bit more during that path, or down that path to try to get a better retreat path. Not a big deal in the end of things. But anyway, we are going to see DarkHero get this Pain Boy. So, kind of differences in terms of what I'm seeing between Division A and Division B. We're seeing a lot more of the Storm Boys as the 4th, well, really the 3rd purchase. The fourth unit in the unit tab, not including the Commander. I don't know why it's always so convoluted like that. But anyway, basically we have a Pain Boy, whereas in Division B, I'm seeing more often the Storm Boys. And between those two, I think I like the Pain Boy better. Pain Boy being a single entity, meaning he does not bleed unless you lose him entirely, and also providing more not self-sustained, but just providing more sustained period to really anyone in your army, anyone who you want to put that heal on, whether it is the Shooter Boys, the Mekboy, the Pain Boy himself. Usually, I think, well, I mean, if you use it on the Mekboy or the Pain Boy, that just goes a long way to making those units a lot tankier and giving them a lot more staying power. but I also like the effect of using it on squads to mitigate the effects of bleed. Now, this is a bit of a rough position for DarkHero. The Heretic Worship that is supporting the Chaos Space Marines as well as the Plague Champion should generally outshoot and outtrade the Shooter Boys. And unfortunately for Piano, he did not quite have the Havoc set up in a position to stop the approach of the Slugger Boys. There was, of course, always the possibility that the Mekboy can just teleport in there in order to, prevent the Havoc from preventing the approach by the Sluggers. But in that case, just actually a little bit of either, I don't know, drop micro or not entirely maybe indecision for Piano about what he wanted to do there. Right now, though, it looks like DarkHero might be trying to commit to this. He has not upgraded, he has built a Wa banner. However, at the moment, he seems to be having trouble dealing with the suppression from this Havoc. The Mekboy being so low, it would be a big risk for him to teleport in there. I mean, the Mekboy, yeah, he was actually really close to dying even before getting suppressed. Oh, Shooter Boys, can't quite do that. So low on hit points. And unfortunately for DarkHero, this means that he's probably going to end up losing this Wa banner. And as DarkHero is focusing on this fight in the middle of the map, we did see a decap. I didn't see it, actually, and, well, I suppose neither did you, although I actually saw it on the minimap, but Piano did get a decap on DarkHero's natural victory point, so DarkHero will be getting that back. DarkHero with a little bit more in terms of power economy at the moment. He's got 4 generators in total, spread across 2 different power farms. Although, well, yeah, he definitely he's got the plus 69 magic number compared to Piano with the plus 59, which, all things considered, my favorite catchphrase and crutch phrase, might not be that big of a deal, especially we see actually Alpra, or Piano, he got to tier 2 quite ahead, and he's already got a Blood Crusher on the way. This is actually quite bad for DarkHero. So, and that might be kind of the maybe mishandling the balance of the requisition compared to the power. And some people, especially when you're new to the game, you might think, oh, but I just want all the power. Let's get the power right away. But sometimes if you overinvest your requisition, then you might actually find you're actually getting too much power and not enough requisition, which is more or less exactly what's happening to DarkHero here, where he's got the power to go to tier 2, but he's still waiting for the requisition. It won't be too far off from this point, but he's way behind Piano. Blood Crusher is already here, and at least I'd say the silver lining for DarkHero is that he has split his generator farms, because the next move for Piano should be to move the Blood Crusher to the power farm. He would likely be going for this one unless he knows that this one has also been that there are generators on this power farm. Because as long as he has the Blood Crusher out, and as long as there's no response to it, really, he should be going for a Power Bash. Disrupting DarkHero's economy further, it's just the biggest punishment that can happen at this moment. Blood Crusher at the moment is unsupported, but we do see the Heretics are moving in, as well as the Plague Champion. Havocs are actually protecting a flank angle, and DarkHero is not currently making his way there. And it makes sense that he's not making his way there. He knows that he has no way to answer the Blood Crusher at the moment. He has to just let the power farm go and see where he can get value elsewhere on the map. So I think the most value he can get is pushing all the way up into Piano's power farm, since there really isn't that much to protect it at the moment. We're going to see the 1 Chaos Space Marine squad, which will at least scout out the Generator Bash, but there's not enough to actually completely deter it. If anything, I don't like that the Sluggers are being so slow. At this point, DarkHero has lost this power farm. He can anticipate that at some point there will be a counterattack to this. I'm actually really unsure why the Sluggers are not going for it, unless they're being upgraded by the Painboy at the moment, which is also a possibility. But I also find this kind of an inopportune time to upgrade to get that Painboy upgrade, because it's a lot of generator bashing that he's honestly just not even achieving at the moment. So yeah, I think he got the upgrade from the Painboy. If there was, I couldn't tell from any visual effect, and it looks like he will actually be able to finish off the power farm eventually. And it's impressive that he did that. If anything, I was very worried about time ticking against him for the eventual time when Piano moves in to actually deal with this power bash. I'll just need a little bit more damage from those shooters to finish off that power generator. DarkHero decides not to finish the decap by the Slugger Boys. And at this point, I think everyone has to go here, especially, yeah, Shooter Boys just have to go, otherwise they're just going to be bleeding more. And the Mekboy was also well placed with that beamy Death Gun to deter the approach by the Blood Crusher, which actually didn't achieve much in that particular engagement. And let's skip the crutch phrase and just move on. Amazingly, DarkHero does come out on top of that, I think. He is left with a better power income at plus 44 to plus 25, given the way that he actually split his power farms. So interesting ideas there. We'll see what else Piano has in store for him. Yeah, I think that was actually very overall well played by DarkHero for how he handled the fact that he was behind in tech. And he managed to play his cards in the right way with just choosing the right places to be, that I would say overall he's in a stronger position at this moment in time in the game. In the end, though, they are still relatively even. DarkHero does have the lead in victory points, but it is Piano with the double cap. And the Plague Marine purchase, a little bit surprising to see at this time. I'm worried about what they're going to do here. They try to get some heals from the Heretics, but they do lose one of those models. And those Plague Marines, I mean, I guess they were... Oh, Touch of Nurgle, though, coming out from Piano. Touch of Nurgle, such a great global ability. Detonating Heretic models, or rather, when a Heretic model, or really any model of a squad explodes, it does knock back. It also heals the squad. It's not exclusive to Heretics, but it was very clearly designed to work with them, and works with them by far better than any other squad. So Piano still looking good in terms of victory point control. He will get the double cap again. DarkHero does, at the moment, keep his Mekboy with the Beamy Death Gun because the Blood Crusher is still out on the field. Shot will go in from that Beamy Death Gun. Actually appeared like it hit something else because Blood Crusher has full health. Might just be targeting the Chaos Space Marines at the moment, which of course does mean that it more or less misses. And here is an upgrade from... We've got a slew of upgrades from this Plague Champion. We do have the Bile Spewer. I don't feel like I see this that often, especially because it means you're giving up the damage over time bolter that you start out with. Pretty sure it has shorter range. Actually, could be wrong about that one. And, I mean, it's good for, I guess, infantry control. And other upgrades, Armor of Pestilence, that one not surprising at all. And Icon of Nurgle, this is one that I have not seen in a while. I've seen a lot of the Mucus Discharge, I've seen a lot of the Blight Grenades, and Icon of Nurgle, this is the first Icon of Nurgle that I've seen in 2020. Icon of Nurgle just gives the Plague Champion a permanent Aura of Decay. It basically just means an area of effect damage cloud around him. Only applies to infantry, as it says. And again, it's also interesting to see that upgrade paired with the Bile Spewer, whereas normally, if you want to go Icon of Nurgle, that usually means a melee Plague Champion. Tank Bus is shooting shots, while Piano will be going for a squad of Bloodletters. Will make it a lot harder for either the Mekboy or the Tank Busters to really threaten this Blood Crusher, which has managed to stay alive this whole time. It's very interesting. The Blood Crusher doesn't actually feel like it's doing that much other than just staying alive. Here it's taking a shot, though. Took one shot from the Mekboy. Another one should be coming in soon. And Tank Buster rockets. This could be the end of the Blood Crusher. Just barely, unless we see a Mekboy teleport. Blood Crusher going back in. And a missile does fly around the corner from those Tank Busters and does catch the Blood Crusher. Meanwhile, I think, yeah, it's now time for the Tank Busters to go really low on hit points. Those Tank Busters, obviously they have quite a bit more health per model than something like a Shooter Squad, but their overall health is not particularly high. In fact, about as much as a Shooter Squad. So they're still not exactly a tanky squad. Bloodletters here are going to be phasing out into the warp, as well as getting some Heretic Worship. Sluggers choosing to engage the Chaos Space Marines, but Chaos Space Marines activate Slaughter. I'm actually not sure. I wouldn't like this for the Sluggers. Yep, Sluggers are not winning this fight. Heal goes in on them, though, so that helps them out. They're still not winning this fight. Except for now they have the support of maybe the War Truck, but the War Truck is going to get scared off, and oh no, the Sluggers might go down in retreat. They lose their knob. I think they will be lucky to get out of there alive, but how about this War Truck? Will it be so lucky? Will this squad of shooters from DarkHero be so lucky? That engagement just not going in DarkHero's favor, and in fact, there he does lose a squad. I think that time it was Sluggers. So rough engagement for DarkHero. Piano attempting the decap, but they will get burned down. Those heretics, that is, get burned down by the Shooter Boys. Shooter Boys, however, will find themselves needing to retreat as well. Tankbuster's even committing a barrage. Unfortunately, the barrage completely misses, so wasted red for DarkHero in that particular time. And, oh man, this is actually really rough for DarkHero. He does switch out the Mekboy, switch out the Beaming Defcon on the Mekboy for just a Defcon. I'm not entirely sure. Well, I mean, he's getting suppression on the Chaos Space Marines, but at this moment, and in fact for this engagement as well as the last one, it feels like DarkHero just can't win fights head-to-head against Piano. So we might finally see the last vestiges of DarkHero's power income be destroyed. Maybe not the last one, since he's still got this power node. And Piano might even be looking to keep the generators there, get the power income from it while he can, while he actually has DarkHero in a situation where DarkHero is having so much trouble winning fights. So DarkHero, as we see, when DarkHero knows that he can't win the head-to-head fight, he's going to play around the map, find other spots on the map where he can find value, using that mobility of the War Truck to put out more units on this side of the map and start capturing some points. Triple cap against him, but he will again bring that Mekboy here. He will at least stall out and buy some time by getting a decap. I don't know if he's going to be able to finish the whole cap, though. Mekboy is not set up either, and he teleports away. And, you know, I didn't like the purchase of the Chaos Space Marines, sorry, the Plague Marines before, but now I am liking them. And what I'm liking about them is that they are actually so tanky that they can kind of just capture a point. And it's actually going to be pretty hard for DarkHero to do anything about that. Meanwhile, it looks like DarkHero lost yet another unit. I'm actually not even sure which one it was, because I'm pretty sure he had 4. And then now he has 3, not counting his commander. Shooter Boys moving in forward. And now it's the Shooter Boys choosing to get the decap, but things are just looking rougher and rougher for DarkHero. He's nearly got a squad of knobs out on the field, so we're going to see if that can be a difference maker for him. Unfortunately, I think even with the Knob squad on the field, things are still kind of against DarkHero at the moment. His Knobs, right out of the gate, are going to be used as a capping unit. And even they will face some pressure, because at the moment, I'm pretty sure they're completely unupgraded. So we have an autocannon Havoc that will start putting in some damage against them. Damage comes in a little bit slowly, since the raw DPS of an autocannon is not incredibly high. And the Knobs are going to find that they actually have to engage in a fight, which they're actually already seemingly losing. Okay, I think they got a heal from the Pain Boy, but Bloodletters will phase out of the warp. I'm actually surprised. Oh, they're actually, yeah, they're still in range for Heretic Worship. These days, I find myself really underestimating the range of Heretic Worship, but they can heal up even while they are phased out of the warp. So in a way, these Bloodletters are actually very tanky, where even if the overall hit point pool might not seem particularly high, they've got some tanking mechanics in the form of that phase shift, where I'm not actually sure if it's called phase shift, but they can make themselves invulnerable, and then they can heal while they are invulnerable. Technically, I think it's more untargetable than invulnerable. Okay, we are going to see a Noxious Cloud go down from Piano. That could be the thing that seals out this game in his favor. Even a Dreadnought. Piano not even bothering to go to Tier 3. I think a squad was killed, but I'm not sure if it matters. Touch of Nurgle. Going to prevent that Mekboy from capturing the point. Mekboy desperately teleports away. Going to be looking for the other victory point, but I think it's too late. And I think this will be Piano taking Game 2 in this series. Victory points inevitably ticking down in his favor. DarkHero calls the GG, and the series will be tied up 1-1 between Piano and DarkHero. And now let's move on to game number 2. Alright, so I made a little bit of a mistake there because this is actually Game 3 rather than Game 2, even though it's only the second game that you're watching. But game number 3 will take place on Quest Heresy. Our first player, DarkHero, this time will be playing as the Eldar Farseer, a support hero for the Eldar who can heal, buff, and kind of disable. And his opponent, Piano, will now be playing as the Eldar Warlock. This is a melee hero who can either tank or become a spellcaster. So Eldar mirrors can often be kind of crazy. The effect of both players having Howling Banshees can be a little bit of a coin flip between, you know, if the two Howling Banshee squads engage, if one of them gets a special attack first. And we might also see kind of the duel between the Spirit Stones from the Farseer as well as the Channeling Runes from the Warlock, just as ways to support the Howling Banshees. We'll see how that works. DarkHero not getting a second Dire Avenger, whereas Piano is, so that does indicate that DarkHero will be looking for either a Ranger squad or a Guardian weapon team for his next unit purchase. Now, Piano going for that double Dire Avenger gives him a little bit more map control out of the gate, or at least potential map control if he can micro it correctly and make the correct decisions. For the moment, it actually seems like it's DarkHero who is kind of forcing his will on Piano, and there is that Ranger purchase as well. Now, the advantage, aside from the potential map control advantage, there are several advantages to these multiple Dire Avengers. We already see one upgrading to the aspect of the Avenger. There is more potential for kills on retreat with more potential grenades, and those grenades actually going to be upgrading really, really early. And aside from, you know, just getting grenades, having that aspect of the Avenger, it does also increase the squad's health. So that also means that head-to-head, it will be winning against DarkHero's Dire Avenger squad until he decides to upgrade his. And it also just makes it a lot easier for Piano to focus down both the Howling Banshees as well as the Farseer at this moment in time. So Ranger's going to be coming out on the field, though, going to be laying in some shots on the Dire Avengers. Does not take a model yet off one of those Dire Avenger squads. Another shot goes in, but hits the other Dire Avenger squad, so no model killed after 2 Ranger shots. So it will indeed be a Spirit Stones upgrade. I'm seeing that more and more these days. In fact, I mean, it's always been a thing. Just as a way, I mean, you can heal any of your squads with it. In fact, you can actually heal multiple squads with it, but usually the primary reason for it is to support Howling Banshees because of much more exposed they are in your army composition here, since they are a melee unit. So more Ranger shots going in. Piano trying to look for some generator bashing. He's only put some light damage in. Oh, this is not looking good for that Dire Avenger squad. They're at the point where they may have to retreat soon. If anything, I think these Dire Avengers need to hang over to the left and retreat out of here before they find themselves. Okay, but we're going to see Kinetic Pulse being comboed into Howling Banshees, and the grenade is dodged. So DarkHero not taking the grenade bait. This is actually super good. This could be one of those squads dead. Okay, a grenade does go in, and he'll be super lucky if he gets that squad out alive. 2 hit points. So lucky for Piano. 1 grenade did hit the Banshees, but ultimately that was a massive win for... And what? How did it die? How did that Dire Avenger die all the way over there? However it happened, it's a huge win for DarkHero. I mean, that would have been a win for him even if he didn't wipe that squad, because he killed 8 Dire Avenger models with that play. And the fact that he somehow actually finished off the Dire Avengers, I still don't even really understand how. I'm sure someone will point it out to me. But it's actually crazy. And now it's DarkHero who actually has more, he has a bigger army, although his Ranger's taking shots from the other Rangers. Guardian weapon team now out for DarkHero. It is interesting to see the Rangers come out first. Typically, I usually think of Guardian weapons teams coming out first in these kinds of builds. I think probably I usually just think that it's usually just what I see more often. I think the Guardian weapon team is also a little bit cheaper than the Rangers, but not too much. But I think, I mean, obviously we already see the value that the Rangers already got. That Kinetic Pulse did so much for DarkHero. And I think the Rangers also do put a lot more pressure on Eldar squads than the Guardian weapon team will. just with this continuous sniping happening. Okay, we're going to see the Warlock right here. He will find himself in melee with the Howling Banshees. That will just be a quick retreat for him before he risks even the possibility of getting hit by a special attack and getting wiped. Okay, it's going to be a Howling Banshee duel, but there is the support from the Dire Avengers from DarkHero, so that will just scare off the Howling Banshees from Piano. Aspect of fleetness on Piano's Howling Banshees, whereas aspect of strength on DarkHero's Howling Banshees. Now, at this moment in time in Tier 1, that does mean that Piano's Howling Banshees should actually have a slight edge. We do see that they have slightly more health at, I believe that's 862 compared to the 825. Doesn't seem like such a huge difference. Of course, later on, though, that does mean that DarkHero's Howling Banshees, their Exarch will get a spear. I forget, actually, I'm pretty sure it's an Executioner. I was trying to debate, is it an Executioner or a Singing Spear? I'm pretty sure it's an Executioner weapon. Which does give them better abilities to handle vehicles compared to the Howling Banshees of Piano, which would eventually get dual, well, Exarch Mirror Swords. I was going to call them dual Mirror Swords, which I think is not incorrect, because she will get 2 of them. Which I think is why they're called Mirror Swords, probably, or something. I'm not sure. Clearly, my 40k lore knowledge is lacking, and I apologize very much, and I'll work on it. Okay, DarkHero with the better end of map control at this time. Piano, I mean, Piano is also playing really tentatively, or not tentatively. That's not a good word, actually. Not for this. Playing cautiously. A little too cautiously at the moment, because it feels like he's not making much happen. Okay, he's going to get a back cap on the victory point here with his Warlock, but that does leave these units here to engage. Unfortunately, he's got a completely linear approach against a Guardian weapon team, which, although set up the arc, well, the arc is actually meant to cover 2 angles. In that sense, that's a very nice firing arc. It does look like there was some room to get around it, but not a whole lot. Yeah, very linear approach from Piano. Not going to succeed at all against a Guardian weapon team. Oh, and Dire Avengers have actually set up an energy shield, which does leave them in a pretty good position to bash. Damage is coming in kind of slowly, but I imagine they will at least kill this power generator without much of an answer from Piano. So Piano, despite not having as much map control, made it to Tier 2 first. He is getting a Wraith Lord. DarkHero is getting to Tier 2 just now. So we'll see how DarkHero is going to manage this. He doesn't know about the Wraith Lord yet, of course, like we do, so he's not going to, probably not yet going to get anything to handle it directly or respond to it directly. He will get the Howling Banshee Exarch, though. Only problem with that Howling Banshee Exarch is Banshees are not exactly a great counter to a Wraith Lord. They will get massively outtraded. One Howling Banshee does get hit by that grenade, but only just barely, not losing a huge amount of health from that grenade. Most of them were able to run past it. Basically, that spear, that Executioner weapon from the Howling Banshees will do some decent damage to the Wraith Lord, but they don't want to really fight in it directly because I think it's just the Wraith Lord's cleave or splash damage will just massively outtrade the Banshees. They will lose health really quickly. They will eventually lose models while their damage to the Wraith Lord will be quite a bit slower. Where are these Banshees going? Oh, wow, they want to engage. Oh, but of course they get hit by the Kinetic Pulse. That's going to be comboed, and we see there just the chunks that this Wraith Lord is taking. I mean, look at that. That was just 2 attacks, taking the Banshees down to half health. Oh, no! Oh, no, DarkHero. I think, yeah, that Dire Avenger squad is gone. A little bit of a delay in the unit tab where for some reason, the squad still hangs out there even after it's been wiped. Okay, we're going to see, this is a Psychic Storm from the Farseer, but it's also going to be an Ethereal Slash. I think Ethereal Slash might have actually already been used, and I missed it because I was honing in on that Psychic Storm. Farseer kind of needs to get out of here, I think. She's trying to get as many of the Howling Banshees as she can. She does get another model, but she has to be really, really careful about not possibly going down to the Wraith Lord. Okay, Howling Banshees, in spite of what I said. Oh, yeah. I mean, we see there, although they can do some damage to the Wraith Lord, just by themselves, it's not really a favorable fight. They lost the Exarch there, so he's going to have to pay to replace it. DarkHero, though, maintaining the double cap, and he will be going for the Fire Dragons. And I'm starting to see Fire Dragons much more and more, and particularly with the Farseer. There are, I think especially after kind of my experience with Heroes of the Storm, I'm a lot better at paying attention to army synergies. And it's not that I never did it before, but they're just, for some reason, it's actually just proven to be a lot more intuitive to me at this time. So just thinking about the ways that spells or abilities can kind of combo with each other to really enhance them. And for the Farseer, one of her things is that she is... Oh, no, she's going to go down. Okay, she's pretty lucky not to. The Farseer combos better with the Fire Dragons, better than any other Eldar hero, to the point where it seems like it's pretty worth getting Fire Dragons with the Farseer, but not always with the other Eldar heroes. And the reason for that is the Farseer's baseline ability called Guide. Guide increases the damage that a targeted squad does and also increases its range, which is important for the Fire Dragons because a big part of one of their weaknesses is their relative lack of range. So Guide is able to compensate for that. And at this time, they're actually not focusing on the Wraithlord. Instead, Fire Dragons will focus on the generator bashing instead. Brightlance also equipped on the Guardian weapon team, so a lot of answers for the moment to the Wraithlord. They're just not being used against the Wraithlord. They're being used against the generators. Well, one is being used against the generators. The other one is actually being used to deter the approach of the Wraithlord, which is part of what helps to secure this generator bash. So Fire Dragons have been upgraded with Dragon Scale armor. It does make them immune to weapon knockback. And a Wraithlord will now be building for DarkHero. Okay, Autark is here. Autark does have Doom on her, though, and we are going to see a big engagement going down. I wanted to talk about some upgrades to these commanders, but we're going to see a big engagement happen at the moment. Where is that Wraithlord from DarkHero? Grenade goes in. Going to be hitting those Howling Banshees and does get them to retreat. Lucky to not lose the Exarch, or will they? There is Ethereal Slash. Exarch does make it out alive, but another Howling Banshee model did fall from the Ethereal Slash. So here is the Wraithlord, and this one will have a Brightlance put on it. The other one has a Shuriken Cannon. So this Wraithlord from DarkHero going to be played a lot more responsibly as a way of putting on damage to Piano's Wraithlord from a distance. And oh no, these Howling Banshees are now in a pretty good position. They need to be intercepted by DarkHero's Howling Banshees. Indeed, that's what will happen. War Shout to prevent the kill on the Guardian weapon team actually does make it. That was actually so important there. Those Howling Banshees from Piano, I'm pretty sure they would have wiped that Guardian weapon team if DarkHero's Howling Banshees did not come in there with the War Shout. Unfortunately for him, I think this is his third time buying back the Howling Banshee Exarch. And it looks like this might be the concede. So that is indeed the concede from Piano. So that does mean that DarkHero goes up 2-1 in this series. And I'll say it correctly this time. We're now actually moving on to Game 4, even though we've only watched 2 games because, again, as I said, the replay for Game 1 was lost, and that was DarkHero winning Game 1. All right, then. Let's move on to Game 4, as I said. So, Game 4 in this series will take place on Ashes of Typhon. Our first player, DarkHero, will be playing as the Plague Champion. Ranged Chaos Commander with a damage over Time Bolter, can get melee weapons later on, can also heal and repair. His opponent, Alpra, the Artist, formerly known as Kvek, now known as Piano, will be playing as the Warboss. Warboss is a tanky melee hero for the orcs, very aggressive, has gap closers and lots of health regeneration. Can be very annoying. So, as we take a look at our starting builds, pretty standard builds for both players. Double Shooters out of Piano, double Heretics out of DarkHero. Capping order does look like we're going to see DarkHero not prioritize the victory point, so instead he's really focusing on just getting his economy going quickly, every single one of his units, except for now this Heretic squad. After taking, they actually walk past the victory point to capture the natural requisition here, whereas a little bit more victory point focus from Piano, so he will get the first few victory points tick down in his favor, though eventually it will be evened out once these Heretics grab a hold of this victory point. Shooter Boy is going to be looking around, though. Maybe they can, if it is indeed Heretics capturing, see if they can harass them a little bit. Instead, it looks like the Warboss is going to be harassed a little bit by the Chaos Space Marines. Warboss looking to just move around, and of course, eventually, if he moves around the line of sight blocker, it doesn't become very productive for the Chaos Space Marines to continue to pursue, because the Warboss can kind of wait until they come around that corner. However, instead, the Chaos Space Marines go around a different corner. Eventually, the Warboss, I was going to say, looks like he's trying to get in there, but after he realizes he's being focused down by both the Plague Champion as well as the Chaos Space Marines, decides it's not ultimately worth his time. Even decides on a full retreat. Well, not a full retreat, but a retreat on the Warboss. I don't even know if the retreat on the Warboss was really that necessary, but he goes with it. Meanwhile, Sluggers in the middle for Piano will be getting the capture on the contested victory point. Power farms down for both players, 2 generators for Piano, and also another 2 for DarkHero. So I'm going to guess. I'm going to take guesses here. I think we're going to see Painboy out of Piano and Havoc out of DarkHero, just based on my own experience of playing the game, casting the game, and what I see as far as their generator farms. Not putting down the whole farm, but at the same time putting down something. Although we also see a node now put down for DarkHero, and there is indeed that Havoc purchase, as predicted. Piano, it's still feeling the Painboy. Not too much in terms of engagements at the moment, but DarkHero actually putting a grenade launchers on one of his Heretics. And those grenades, if they connect, although they're also pretty dodgeable, but if they connect, they do pretty good burst damage against a lot of these squishier infantry squads. 2 models taken down on that Slugger squad. Not bad. So, not any huge engagements happening yet. And actually, okay, I think I was wrong about Piano. I think he actually just wants to go to Tier 2. Yeah, I mean, if he's banking this much power, that means he probably wants to just go to Tier 2. And I mean, luckily for him, he hasn't really been punished for going for such a small army. Yeah, okay. And, as I think back, I think it makes a little bit more sense where I'm pretty sure every game that we've seen, Piano has made it to Tier 2 first, so that just seems to be part of his strategy, that he wants to get ahead in tech. Obviously, one game it paid off for him, one game it didn't. In fact, Piano still has the lead in victory points, but eventually we will see a double and possibly even a triple cap against him. Heretics choosing to chase after the Shooter Boys, and that's why we see the Shooter Boys. The Shooter Boys are not choosing to just shoot it out against the Heretics, because those grenades can actually be pretty devastating against these squishy infantry squads. But even the auto guns from those Heretics are coming in, and they're doing enough damage to those Shooter Boys, where they actually lost a model there. And quite a bit of health, about a third of their hit points. And more, actually. All right, between the Sluggers and the Shooters, though, that does scare off the Heretics a little bit. Okay, grenades will go in. They will knock over both the Sluggers as well as some of the Shooters, but some Shooters are also still shooting at the Heretics. Why are the Heretics getting so close? They're not that good in melee with when they are in this form. Oh, very nice, though. There is a Mucus Discharge from the Plague Champion. Just burst heal ability. So that's why we saw the health bar of the Heretics go up more or less to maximum. It's the more or less the maximum of what they would have, given that they are missing 2 of their models. In fact, I'm wondering just how high that health bar is going to go. Should go, yeah, not too much more. 810. Warboss chasing after, but eventually he will get focused down enough to the point where he will be in retreat. So victory points almost evened up for DarkHero, but yet again we're seeing Piano in this position where he's got a tech lead, he's got a Death Dread already out on the field, and DarkHero not even in tier 2. So DarkHero has done a pretty good job of responding to this. I mean, I guess at this point, Piano is just moving the Death Dread over to the power farm, so it's predictable in the sense that if DarkHero goes somewhere else other than his own power farm, he knows the Death Dread shouldn't be there. But it looks like, I'm not sure if we'll be able to win this engagement anyway. It's going to be a close call. Alright, so Havocs are in retreat. Heretics are still here, though, but they're trying to wait out the Use Your Choppas, because if the Use Your Choppas wear off, Heretics can re-engage, and they would absolutely have the winning end of things, given how few models are left. And eventually, once the Use Your Choppas does wear off, that will just be a retreat for the Sluggers from Piano. So, of course, Death Dread will be here just bashing this generator farm, because at the moment it is completely unanswered. So we're going to look and see just what DarkHero is going to see, what value he's going to try to get in the meantime. We're going to see Force Melee on the generator. And then tried to capture it, but kind of blocked by Piano, putting another node on it, so not getting quite the value that he was looking for. I think he was hoping to regain some power income by capturing this contested power node for a brief amount of time. And DarkHero, again, he's just looking for other ways that he can get value. He actually got a decap on Piano's natural power, which, I mean, that was a fully matured, sorry, not natural power, natural requisition, and that was a fully matured requisition point. So DarkHero just looking for any other way he can to try to get value, since he still does not yet have the means to contest this Death Dread. Started upgrading to an autocannon the Havocs, but decided to cancel it. He is committed to getting the Plague Marines, though. Chaos Space Marines there. This is a risky position for them, because they're about to retreat. Death Dread should be in their retreat path. I wonder if the Death Dread is going to try to melee them, see if they can get another model. I'm actually not sure, but they're going to try it. Okay, big chunk taken out of the Chaos Space Marines' health, but another model was not taken. So kind of lucky for DarkHero there. Okay, Plague Marines are now out on the field, so DarkHero at least has some answer to the Death Dread. The Death Dread here probably looking for another Power Bash, but might start to think a little bit better of it once the Plague Marines show themselves. Piano looking to see if he can at least finish one more of the generator farms, or sorry, just one more of the generators, and he does indeed. Now the Death Dread, don't know if the charge is on cooldown. If the charge is ready to use, he can get it out of here, no problem, against these Plague Marines. Plague Marines approaching, looking for another shot. They will get it. But here's the approach by the shooters as well as the Warboss to deter any further damage onto that Death Dread. Meanwhile, we've got a Weird Boy out for Piano, and that Weird Boy, I like it quite a bit, actually, in this engagement. I do think DarkHero has a very ranged, heavy army, and just the basic attack from the Weird Boy going to be disrupting whatever ranged unit he wants, especially the Plague Marines. Create more space for the Death Dread to stay alive. I mean, those Weird Boy basic attacks are also just great against the Heretics, period. Honestly, they're just great, period. They do come out kind of slowly, though, so we did see the focus fire coming out from the Weird Boy. And, of course, if there is just a big ranged blob, the Weird Boy can throw down that Warp Vomit, stun a big mass of ranged units, and that could be enough time to give Piano a bit of an edge. Here he's actually just using the Warp Vomit, I think, to just cover his retreat, or rather his soft retreat. And here is the... actually, I like that play, yeah. I mean, stunning the Plague Marines and then getting the Death Dread around to get them in melee. So this means, and now further trapping the Plague Marines using aiming what's that. We're going to start seeing some models being taken down. What else is DarkHero going to do about this Death Dread? So we've got actually a Blood Crusher on the way. And I think with the Blood Crusher, as long as these Plague Marines don't die, I think with the Blood Crusher on the way, oh no! I wasn't even paying attention to it because I was focusing in on this Death Dread. But the Weird Boy went down for Piano. What even happened there? Oh no, this is horrible for Piano. Because what I was trying to get around to as that Weird Boy was dying is that now I feel that DarkHero has what he needs to counter the Death Dread. The Blood Crusher offers plenty of damage. And then eventually the Plague Marines will come out back on the field. They might not even need it. We might actually see the end of this Death Dread before the Plague Marines even have a chance to hit it again. Oh, because we also have a melee Plague Champion with the Plague Fist. This is actually a disaster for Piano. And again, we're seeing he was ahead in tech. And he got out the Death Dread first. He burned down the power farm. But DarkHero recovers and comes out massively on top of things. So full power bash now by DarkHero on this contested power farm. He can probably just move right on over, take Piano's natural power farm as well. Piano will be moving over to tier 3. Though I'm not quite sure. I mean, we'll see what that'll buy him. Slug is using Swamp him to try to get into melee with the Havocs, but eventually, with the support of the Heretics there, proves to just be too much. Why are the Havocs not shooting? Finally, they start shooting at the Weird Boy. Not the Weird Boy, the Warboss. They both are abbreviated to WB, so that's why I got confused. Stomp from the Warboss does knock over the Heretics, and he will continue to try to get in melee with the Havocs, but it wasn't meant to be, and eventually he does need to retreat. So here's the hope for Piano. He's getting a looted tank. Looted tank hard counters a Blood Crusher, and is good against a lot of the other things DarkHero has. And at the moment, DarkHero's anti-vehicle answers are pretty light for dealing with something like a looted tank, especially if the looted tank does get the reinforced plating. But I would say the reinforced plating not even necessary against what he would be dealing with at the moment. And that looted tank with its cannon, that Orky battle cannon, does slow rate of fire, but very good area of effect damage against infantry. And certainly enough anti-vehicle damage to be a very significant threat to the Blood Crusher. Blood Crusher should really never be able to catch the looted tank. Oh no. Plague Champion here needs to be very careful. Yeah, I was going to say, not worth it for him to actually try to finish that cap and die for it. We're going to see Slugga's attempt to kill him on retreat. They just might be able to do it, but this is a Plague Champion with the Armor of Pestilence, so although that health bar looks really low, he does have actually a huge amount of hit points with that Armor of Pestilence, granting an extra 600. And that is, I mean, it's actually pretty much the Armor of Pestilence that enabled him to get out of there alive. He got out of there with a whole 29 hit points out of 1,300. Okay, DarkHero with the lead in victory points, 300 to 213. Piano with a smaller army, but that looted tank, just as kind of a superior unit compared to a lot of the things DarkHero has, is allowing him to try to fight his way back into this game. He's going to be looking to get a double cap. However, the Plague Marines will come here to try to slow down the looted tank. Looted tank has indeed been upgraded with reinforced plating. Yeah, and I mean, definitely with what DarkHero has, okay, he did upgrade to an autocannon on the Mark of Khorne. And if that autocannon is combined with the snare from the Plague Marines, that could be enough to potentially take down the looted tank. Blood Crusher could even try to see if it could get in there, but very hard to catch up with the looted tank in melee as it kind of kites around and shoots in ranged. Big shots going in. Oh, this is not good. Oh my god, just look at all those Heretic models that went down. I mean, if that squad did not have an aspiring champion, that would have been the wipe. So that's why we even see something like this Heretic squad, which is a ranged Heretic squad, having an aspiring champion. Maybe that's not the only reason, but it's at least one of the reasons. So, another shot going in. Chaos Space Marines, however, will get the cap, but they're probably... they're going to be looking for a heal from the Plague Champion, I think. Yep. So they get a heal. Does not heal them to full. Not sure if it just wasn't enough healing or if it didn't hit every model. Okay, so heals the Plague Champion for 145 and all friendly infantry for 70 health. So it's not a full heal. Okay, Looted Tank will be moving in. Can DarkHero hold here? He has a Shrine of Nurgle. He's got a Blood Crusher hiding around the line of sight blocker. We've got some Orc models literally flying up into the air as they're being blown apart by the autocannon. Still doing it. It's always one of the best glitches in the game, actually speaking. We still have it? All right, it's gone. Okay, double cap still for DarkHero, just holding on to these points. So it looks like DarkHero is well entrenched here. Autocannon covering the approach. If anything does kind of come up into that approach, she's got both the Blood Crusher and the Heretics to just kind of swamp them in melee. As well as a Heavy Bolter turret covering this approach. Another Blood Crusher coming out from DarkHero. This guy's crazy. He could go to tier 3, but he's getting another Blood Crusher. Well, nothing is happening here, so... I mean, I was silent for a bit because I didn't have too much to say. Okay, it's going to look like it's going to be the full commitment by Piano. Unfortunately, he's actually so close to the point where the Warboss will have to retreat. Yeah, that's pretty rough. So now he's going to have to finish this engagement, and he has to fight it at this point. He just has to fight because he's at the point where, you know, if he doesn't, he's going to lose the game. Okay, Plague Cloud does scare off most of his army. Looted Tank starting to take shots on that Blood Crusher. Very nice use of the Blood Crusher. I think the Blood Crusher even stays alive here. Charging in, counting on the disruption on the knobs. And Piano actually is calling this as a GG right here. Looted Tank isn't even killed, but it's just so low in hit points. Can't make anything else happen. Very nice use of this autocannon Havoc. And that will be DarkHero taking this series 3-1. So that means he advanced to the semifinals of Elite League Season 5, Division A. Hope you enjoyed it, and have a good night.